Hey everybody, John Murphy, CSSI. I wanted to show you this calculator that I had developed because I was thinking, especially with 60% bonus depreciation, there is there's 40% that doesn't get studied. So one of the things that I run into all the time is that most CPAs and tax professionals, they will take that improvement or that building and they'll just grab 60%. They won't bother doing cost segregation on it, figuring that there's not enough left there in the 40%. And I will tell you, being on this side of the aisle, looking through these cost segregation studies, we've done a number of improvement studies. And what I'm seeing is they're building these things out. A lot of times here, let's take a look at the inputs. A lot of times the 5-year class life might be 35, 40, 45, maybe even 50% of the build out, right? So of the tenant improvement. This is going to be different than if you're studying an entire building where, from ground up, maybe it's $1 million, $2 million, $5 million building, and maybe you have somewhere between 15%, or, maybe if it's an office warehouse, maybe it's only 6 to 10%, but a lot of times it might be 15 to 20% would be considered 5-year class life property, and then you've got your land improvements, your 15-year property. When you're doing tenant improvements, let's just assume that it's all interior improvements on this, so there's going to be no 39-year class life, and occasionally we do see, as we're looking at tenant improvements, we might see 2 or 3% shows up as 39-year. But in this scenario, I want to show 35% 5-year class life, 65% 15-year class life, and that's really QIP. That's qualified improvement property. It's an interior improvement. It's not an escalator. It's not an elevator. And then the tax rate, we're going to run this at 32%. The project is $400,000. Cost for this study, let's just say it's $3,500 to do it. Okay, so. But the CPA will have taken 60% of this normally, okay, is what they're going to do. So CPA is going to get this, and they're going to take, of $400,000, they're going to take $240,000 tax deduction. $240,000 tax deduction times 0.32 is right here, $76,800 tax savings without doing cost segregation. What I'm saying is you do cost segregation for $3,500, you net that down, that's an expense. So it costs you $2,380 more the first year when you do cost segregation. However, starting in year 2, you're going to pick up additional tax savings, $820, $4,020, $7,200 in year 4, and then it peaks out at year 5, $10,400. This is after paying the $3,500 for the cost segregation study. So I am telling you, as I run through this, I see this over and over again. The improvements are not being studied. I know for a fact they're not being studied because we are not being contacted for them. They should be studied. If you're an owner, whether you're the tenant and you're paying to make these improvements, or if you're the building owner and you've paid to do these improvements for your tenant, and you're under the assumption we're just going to take 60% bonus depreciation, I'm just telling you, you're leaving tax money on the table. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer. It should be studied. It's going to make, by the way, disposal of this property, dispositions on this property, tear-outs on it, replacement. It's going to make it a whole lot easier. When you go to sell the building, you might be able to look at doing some diminished value when you sell the building, possibly saving on recapture tax. So I'll run more of these scenarios in the future. I just want to show this to you. I had this built. I'm the only one who's got it as far as I know. This is my property, not CSSI's. Happy to chat with you. I work all over the country. So if you've done an improvement north of, say, $200,000, you're building out a coffee shop, an office, retail space, it doesn't really matter. If you're doing an improvement, let me know. We can run the numbers, give you some kind of ballpark on what your savings might be by studying that improvement. See ya.